African Americans have a unique history in this country. There's a legacy of brutal enslavement, economic exploitation, state-sanctioned violence, and deliberate attempts to divide an already fractured people. Bobby Seale said, "The best way to fight racism and oppression is with solidarity." Dr. Ron Christopher Osborne Williams and filmmaker Tylon U. Savior Washington has created a unique online experience where African Americans are not only welcome, but preferred. A space where the only thing that matters is your blackness. Welcome to the Colored Only Café. With Dashawn Farad giving us our world news, Bro Pete, the Empress Lydia Percy, Sonny B. Sutherland Sr., and you, the black community. Welcome to the Colored Only Café, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
All right. Welcome, people. Welcome, one and all. The cafe is open. The barristers and folks are ready to take your order. Oh, it's a lot going on. Ron, I think you and I are going to have to open up this Colored Only Cafe, the brick and mortar spot, a lot sooner than we hoped. I mean, there's going to be no food stamps for folks. We got all kinds of things going on, and I think they're going to need us now, Ron, more than ever. Welcome. Thank you for telling me I'm not on camera. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, friends and family. I'm glad to see the room is filled up. I think that, it's because we got this really special guest that's going to be on here. Let's see. Let me say hello to Lydia Percy. Hello, Lydia. How are you, Lydia? Welcome, Lydia. She has a wonderful program every Monday on the GoPro Radio Network. It's called Lydia's Lyrical Lounge. And last I checked, it's the #1 show on our website. If you go to the website, we got an algorithm. Like the more, people click on a particular show, a certain show, that's when the algorithm pushes the show up. And so her show is literally #1 on the network, and it's called Lydia's Lyrical Lounge. It's because she plays some really, really great music. She talks about the music, gives you a little background and history on the music, which is also awesome. And she does poetry. And she has some poetry books out. Check her out on Amazon. Pick up her books. Then also I see my good friend Deidre Farmer-Paleman from the Restitution Study Group. When I tell you people who are real activists and working in the interest of, restitution for our people, I can't think of a more stellar individual who's working in that field. And, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of panels, think tanks and conferences and da-da-da-da and all this other kind of stuff. But there's some people out there that they might not grab the spotlight, but they are doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And to some extent in front, too. One of those folks are definitely Deidre Farmer-Paleman. Thank you for being here. Nama is here. Oh, it's always good to see Nama. She does a lot of work for the GoPro Radio Network behind the scenes. Nama's also, she's out in Uganda, and she does a whole lot of really like high-tech stuff. So it's good to see you in the house, Nama. Good to see you. Sean is in the house, man. He got his nice setup yesterday. He joined in the room. It's good to see you, Sean. It's good to see you. Marlene is in the place to be. Marlene, thank you for all the information and the notes. Kathleen Blanco is here in the house. And, of course, Dr. Ron is here. I see Courtney here. Look at Courtney is Mary Poppins. Is that Mary Poppins today? You Mary Poppins today, Courtney?
I am Mary Poppins.
Popping in. It's good to see you. And she's out there on the West Coast with all my other friends on the West Coast, Jacqueline Banner and Amanda Banner. Everybody out on the West Coast is in shape. I got to go out on the West Coast. I got to lose some pounds here. Help. Sexy Kitty Cat is in the house. Good to see you. Jamel Sutherland is here. I always like to make the room energy right with acknowledging all the people who took out their time with all the stuff that's going on. to distract you and all the entertainment and stuff like that, to spend your Wednesday evenings with us is powerful. So I really appreciate that. I want to acknowledge you guys for being here in the room. Also, we got Divine G is in the house. Oh man, you're talking about Oscar nominated, and in my view, if I had a choice, the Oscar winner for last year's film Sing Sing, writer, producer, actor. He does it all. When I say he does it all, he literally does it all here at the GoPro Radio Network. Thank you, Divine, for being here. Had a lot of fun last night, too, on the program. Also, we got JT the Wolf is in the house. Thank you so much, JT, for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And then also we got Super Black Man in the house. Now, there's a lot going on, particularly here in New York City, and I know all over. This is like midterm elections, and so I've invited a very special guest, Charles Barron, the People's Councilman. He's here. He'll be here, and we're going to talk a little bit about politics. But before we talk about politics, I want to talk a little bit about, and I'll probably discuss this a little bit more too when Charles get on, about the fact that the federal government is shut down and people don't have any food, and food stamps and the pantries already are, at its end. And, there's a lot of, folks who are, what do you call it, like stressed out. And I want people to use this as an opportunity to get better organized, and for us to kind of look out for each other better. We look out for each other, but we have to do it more intentionally and more aggressively, and hopefully we'll be able to do that through some programs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this little clip, and I want us to talk about this clip, and just hold on tight. Tell me what you think about it. This was sent in by a student of mine, actually a former student of mine, and so I want you to just tell me what you think about this.
Here's my plan to overthrow the U.S. government. No violence needed. Okay, so let us remember, most importantly, Nepal reformed its entire government in less than 2 days and picked an official on Discord. I'm not trying to hear that it's not possible. Other countries, they strike, they protest, they boycott. People, listen, stop acting like America doesn't have power. There is power in our dollar. We're all on the same team. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're a socialist. It does not matter. We all want a better life and a better country for our babies. We all want to not fear living paycheck to paycheck. We losing our home. We all want that to stop. Okay, this is going to be our lines of communication. We're going to use everything. Discord, WhatsApp, GroupMe, Facebook, Reddit, Zoom. We're going to separate. We're going to create groups that involve each state, right? So groups are going to make, okay, you live in Indiana, cool. Why? Because we're going to need to be able to communicate on a state level so we can help each other. Oh, you say you in downtown Detroit? Okay, this is where I live too. You need food, you need groceries, your baby need clothes? Boom, we are going to look out for each other, okay? We're gonna have all types of stuff. Okay, so what are we saying no to? The first thing we are going to say no to is all major restaurants. I promise you, you don't need it. I can guarantee you, if I could guarantee that you could live a better life, have a better quality of health, and save food, would you listen to me? I can guarantee you I can save you money. Box stores, we are not going to. Really, any of them. Target, Walmart, Sam's, Publix, Kroger, Whole Foods, none of that. We tired of them numbers. None of that. Okay, we're going to say yes to Costco because they treat their workers well. We're going to say yes to all the dollars. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar. Why? Because there's like $6 Generals in every single town. And for a lot of people, that's their only option. Also, Aldi. You're going to get the most bang for your buck at Aldi anyway. Connections and benefits. So first off, the benefits to cutting all these out is you save money, you have a healthier life, all those things. What I mean by connections is this is where your groups are going to come in. You're going to tell your people, I'm struggling, G. I really want some Chick-fil-A. And they're going to say, nah, you can do it. You can do it. You're going to get encouragement. You're going to get recipes. You craving Mexican? Man, why would you pay $30 for one plate at a subpar restaurant when somebody grandma or somebody that learned from their grandma can put a recipe right here. We could even break up the groups. Hey, this is a Mexican food recipe, soul food recipes. I always wanted to try Lao food. Hey, show me how to do it. Somebody, mama, please teach me. Right, these are going to be our systems. These are going to be the rules or everything set in place to ensure nobody goes hungry, nobody loses their home, okay? So one, the first rule is we are going to be connected with as many local farmers as possible. Again, this is why we're going to break our groups up into states so that you can say, okay, I live in St. Louis, Missouri. What's the closest farm to me and what do they sell? They got jellies. Do they got veggies? Do they got fruit? Do they have eggs? Farm fresh eggs are the best eggs you are going to eat in the world. I promise you. And I promise you there's a lot more small farmers than you think. Okay, so one of the rules to that, yes, we're going to have hard rules, so there is no debate. If there is a farm within 30 minutes of you, you are required to shop there. Not saying you have to buy everything there because they might not sell everything you need, but you are required to get as many things as your home needs from them, as well as all the local farmers. Any place within 30 minutes of you needs to have some type of delivery service, okay? So we're going to help others. We're going to carpool. We're going to babysit. We're donating. We're going to have some type of donation fund so that people who have more money can, maybe give to a pot that we can help for the people who might be losing their job. We boycott McDonald's, they're going to start firing people before they close. So, we're going to have to look out for each other. We're going to have to share meals. Hey, you got food stamps? You might have to cook for the neighborhood, okay? Something like that. Everyone must participate. Hard rule, you must participate. You must be in a group. You don't have to use every group, every app, but you need to be in at least 1 to 2 groups, and you must participate in one of these things. Again, carpooling, meal sharing, donating, babysitting, whatever you can think of that will help. Another system I would love to develop is a delivery system. Not Uber Eats, not DoorDash. Our own system like TaskRabbit or TaskRabbit. There's other stuff, or we can again just have our own groups and say, hey, I'm finna deliver some groceries, or hey, I need some groceries deliver. This my tip. Da 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 da. People that survive off of DoorDash, they don't have to lose their income. If anything, they'll make more income because DoorDash take all their money anyway. All right, so there's plenty of companies and plenty of businesses or people that are a part of a union. This is where we need y'all, okay? Like, y'all are going to be the backbone. Y'all are going to be the ones who have to say, we're not working. We're not doing this. We're not coming to work. Again, that's going to have to be the unionized people. I don't have enough experience on that. But, hey, this is a team. This is just a rough outline. We need DEI. These are our demands, okay? In no particular order, but for the healthcare space, we need universal healthcare. I'm done with this affordable, universal healthcare, okay? We are a first world country, and the world's economy is based off the U.S. dollar. There is no reason why every baby in this country shouldn't have health care. No reason at all. Not playing none of that. We need lower prices on pharmaceuticals. We need caps. We need pharmaceutical caps, okay? Because right now in America it's a business, okay? And this business isn't about keeping people healthy. It's about keeping the money in. We're tired of that. Lower it right now, okay? Prioritize staffing in hospitals. That's a huge problem. Not only are we going to prioritize staffing, we're going to create programs, grants, college classes that are free that we can encourage people to work in jobs. You don't just got to be a doctor or a nurse. We need radio techs. We need people that clean. The people that come in and clean the rooms. You need people that serve the lunch. You need so much staff in a hospital, okay? No excuses. Businesses must pay a livable wage, okay? Not only that, not only does the minimum wage need to severely increase, but also no price hikes. Okay, I forgot to write it, but major rent control. Landlords cannot hike up the prices just because everybody's making more money. Grocery stores cannot hike up the prices just because everybody's making more money. And let's be very clear, they can't hike up the prices if we ain't shopping there.
All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna end it right there. Shout out to Melissa because our guest has joined the room. I hope you got. What I just appreciate and respect about Melissa's video is that here's a young person she just got so much fun. People talk about young people all the time, and especially a lot of us older folks. What's the young people doing? Young people are incredible, and we don't see it. And I think it's by design. The fake stream media, they curate these images of young people, so you see all the negative side, but you don't see the positive. You don't see what they're doing. That's really terrific. Matter of fact, some people think that something like that's not news, but I figure that's news. I think it's news to show our young people who are coming up with solutions and got ideas, and then more than anything, her passion. And so I hope that I wish she was running here in New York City. She would definitely get my vote. But speaking about voting and election, our esteemed guest is in the room. I'm always super excited to see him, and whenever he's here, he always makes the room a lot better. And also, I know I get informed and I'm a little bit more intelligent. So Charles Barron, just for folks who don't know, just for the folk people who don't know, he's a longtime Brooklyn-based activist and politician. He's from actually my district that I was raised in. Okay, folks. I went to George Gershwin Junior High School. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School. That's all in the East New York section of Brooklyn, and so that's where he's from. His career spans from early works with the Black Panther Party to over 2 decades in elected office. He is born in Queens and raised in Manhattan. Barron gained prominence through grassroots organizing, focusing on racial, economic, and environmental justice. He is a phenomenon, and I always call him the councilman. He's always the councilman for the people, the people's councilman, Charles Barron. Let's give it up for him. Thank you for being here, Charles. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yes, we do, and it's an honor, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing because, information, it's empower in and of itself, but without the information and you implementing the power of that information, we would go nowhere. So I want to thank you for providing this kind of forum, this kind of program so that people can be informed of what's really going on out here.
Right. I really, really appreciate it. But let's get into it because I know your time is precious. I know another thing, I just want to acknowledge the fact that Charles Barron is very, very active. He's probably more active now than the council. So the time
came from a meeting.
Yeah. So I really, really want to be extremely mindful of your time here. And this is an election season. You know how I feel about voting and stuff like that. But I want to talk about what's going on with Mandami and Cuomo, and we got to just mention Curtis, in New York. And the reason why I want to talk about New York is New York is like a microcosm, but of what's really probably going to happen all over the nation. I think when you look at and it's right. Is that? Am I right to even assume that to think that the what happened politically in New York kind of has an effect and impact on the nation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question about it.
So they're trying to already, for folks who don't know, in New York City we have early elections, and already there's record numbers of people going out to vote. Most of them are elderly. They want to make sure at the very last effort they do, they cast their vote. So a lot of old elder people are out there voting, and a lot of people are already saying that it's not even close. I want to get your thoughts first on the election in general, and can you speak specifically to what's happening in New York by this guy who is being framed as a socialist, a communist, anything derogatory term that you can think of as being, but still the people want something different. What does that say about the culture and the electoral politics today?
Well, first of all, people need to understand that the electoral arena was not designed for Black people to have power, for Black people to get the resources that we really need. It was designed by white men, and particularly to maintain white power. And if white power is ever threatened, then they get these neo-colonial Black puppets of the Democratic Party to put them in place. It's called neo-colonialism. The new way to colonize us is put Black faces and high places and still maintain the same colonial capitalist system, the same policies of the white power structure, except they're done in blackface. So that's what the electoral arena was all about. And in the 60s, we said black power, black power. Yeah, well, we did the black, but we didn't get the power. And so this is all about power, Taylor. This is about power.
Mhm.
We have to get power in the hands of those like that young sister who was just on before me. We got to get power. Power is the ability to act. Power is the ability to you to make decisions in your best interest, regardless of the resistance. Influence is when you have to scream, holler, march, demonstrate, and get the people who do have the power to make decisions in your interest. So when we think about politics, everything is political. The air you breathe in, whether it's going to be healthy or polluted, is a
Mhm.
political decision.
Mhm.
How often your garbage is picked up in your neighborhood, a political decision. Whether they're going to close the schools in your neighborhood, the youth centers in your neighborhood, senior centers in your, a political decision. Whether you're going to have SNAP food program money, a political decision.
Mhm.
Everything is political. For those people who said, I ain't into politics. Well, you may not be, but politics is into you.
Mhm.
And that's why we got to look at that. So in New York City,
Mhm.
Inez and I, my wife Inez Barron, we ran for the city council seat. I won that first seat in 2001. And then she ran in 2008 and won the assembly seat. And then I was term limited out in 2012. So from the assembly position, she ran for my seat,
Mhm.
and then I ran for her seat. So we both, for the last 21 years, we were in the electoral arena and making sure that we had the power. Within that 21 years, we made sure that three new $88 million schools were built in our East New York district. We were able to secure $110 million worth of renovations for parks. We were able to make sure that we got two new libraries, one being built from the ground up and another renovated 21st century libraries that's going to blow your mind when you see them, Brother Washington.
Mm.
Beautiful, beautiful libraries, African motif to it. You remember that library on New Lots?
Oh yeah.
That's going to be gone.
Mm.
And behind that, they had a park called Skank Park. Now it's
Okay.
called Sankofa Park, brand new.
Mhm.
We opened that up and we opened up $110 million worth of parks, $6,000 worth of jobs. And then on the radical revolutionary end, we got the state assembly to send a letter to the parole board for Black Liberation Army members to get out of prison. Jalil Montekim, who was in for 50 years, and we got the state legislature, and he was released. Herman Bell was released. Seth Hayes was released because of our participation along with the Jericho movement in that. The first reparations bill ever in New York State was my bill. They changed it. They changed one line after cowards. After I left, they
Mm.
waited for me to leave. And so I said that that commission should be appointed by December 12th movement, the and Cobra and Ron Daniels Institute of the Black World. They should pick the 9 members. But they changed that after I
Well,
left.
we have Deidre Farmer Paleman here from the Restitution Study Group. I think she needs to be part of any framework discussing reparations. What do
Well, yeah,
and you know her, right?
I know the age very well,
Yeah,
but
yeah. That'd be
the
good.
main thing is
Mm-hmm.
the power and authority.
Mm-hmm.
They gave that 3 appointees now for Governor Hochul, who's clueless, and the state assembly has 3, and the state senate has 3, and none of the community groups. That's what they put in place, and they haven't sent anything forward since. So I just wanted to give people a little taste of that, that everything is political. And now we have before us a New York City election. New York City has 8.6 million people. About 2 million of them are black people, Africans, 2 million and change are Latinos, and about 1 million and change are Asian. So 62% of New York City is Black, Latino, and Asian. Whites are the minorities if you put us all together. So that's that. There are 51 city council members, and most of them are Black, Latino, and Asian, the majority, and about majority are women as well. The state assembly, there's 150 state assembly members, 63 state senators. That's a bicameral body, so you have to get it passed in both bodies in order to get anything done. I'm laying this out because when we talk about Mamdani and the stuff, you'll
Right.
see the
Context.
significance of this. Um, so, that's that situation. Um, we focused on the city council because it was a unicameral body, meaning 51 members, you get a majority of the votes there, it passes. It doesn't go to another body, it goes straight to the mayor, the executive branch. And then you're able to, and if he even vetoes a bill, and we get 34 council members out of the 51, we override that veto and it becomes law anyway. So if we have 40 council members on any particular piece of legislation, it's law, no matter what the mayor does. That's that part. One last piece, and I'll get into the dynamics of the present election. This is incredible. New York State has a $254 billion budget, and 15 to 21 billion in a separate, unrestricted, so-called rainy day budget. That's the expense budget. They have another 50, 60 billion dollar capital budget for schools and parks and capital projects. Then the city council, the mayor has a $115 billion budget with $8 billion in an unrestricted fund. Come on, Tyler. With all of that money, if people, first of all, people shouldn't need SNAP with that kind of money in this one state. So while everybody's focusing on Trump, he's right. He's crazy. He's a madman. He's a asinine. He's an imbecile with power. He's racist, xenophobic, colonialist. You call him what you want. But the bottom line, the state has the money to protect our people from Trump's cuts in the federal budget. They are having us focusing on Trump because over the years, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, the minimum wage federally was $7 and change. $7 and change for a minimum wage, no matter which party was in place. No matter which party was in place, they both supported Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people. Both parties supported AFRICOM, the building of military bases in Africa for the purposes of ripping off the natural resources of Africa, and claim they create the terrorist organizations, then say they need to build the military base to stop them. Asking America to stop terrorism is like asking an arsonist to help you put out fires. It just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. So I wanted to put that framework, and before I leave, we're going to talk about the Sahel Revolution in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger and the BRICS group. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and 20 other countries now have joined BRICS, and the declining American empire. So now let's get to New York and the New York mayoral race.
Hold on for that moment. I'm just getting the thing. We got to do it for a quick commercial break.
Sure.
Folks, we have Charles Barron here in the house. This is the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong. And we'll be right back after this quick break.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, business, talent, and/or something important to say. Now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 646-415-0990 or go to www.goproradio.com. That's www.goproradio.com. You'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
The views and opinions expressed on GoPro Radio Network shows are solely those of the speakers and are not necessarily the views or opinions of GoPro Radio Network, Inc. or its affiliates. These broadcasts are provided on the understanding that they do not constitute professional advice or services. Individuals who speak on these broadcasts express their own opinions, experiences, and conclusions. GoPro Radio Networks and its affiliates do not necessarily endorse or oppose any particular opinion or conclusion discussed in these broadcasts. You may not edit or modify or redistribute these broadcasts in any way without the express permission from GoPro Radio, LLC. GoPro Radio assumes no liability for any of your activities in connection with our broadcasts or for your use of these broadcasts in connection with your website, computer, smartphone, tablet, iPad, or future listening devices. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
A word from the official sponsor of Black Empowerment, Power Tools. There's no telling when something's gonna come up, so make sure you carry your power tools at all times. You never know when you're gonna need to bring the hammer down, or when you'll have some trash that needs to be blown away, or some obstacle that requires cutting down. Don't get caught empty-handed. Keep your hammer close by. Keep that leaf blower at the ready. And always carry your steel. Power Tools. Because no matter what your day job or side hustle may be, there's no excuse for not being ready to put in some work.
African Americans have a unique history in this country. There's a legacy of brutal enslavement, economic exploitation, state-sanctioned violence, and deliberate attempts to divide an already fractured people. Bobby Seale said, "The best way to fight racism and oppression is with solidarity." Dr. Ron Christopher Osborne Williams and filmmaker Tylon U. Savior Washington has created a unique online experience where African Americans are not only welcomed, but preferred. A space where the only thing that matters is your blackness. Welcome to the Colored Only Café. With Dashawn Farad giving us our world news, the Bro Pete, the Empress Lydia Percy, Sonny B. Sutherland Sr., and you, the black community. Welcome to the Colored Only Café, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
All right. We are back. We are black. And in the house, we have Charles Barron. And right before the break, he did a wonderful job at setting up what's going on politically here in New York. And yes, go ahead and continue, Charles.
So in New York City now, you have this mayoral race, and I had the opportunity to serve in the state assembly for 7 years and the city council for 14 years. During that time span, I served when Governor Cuomo was the governor, when Zoran Mamdani was the state assembly member with me in the state assembly. I then went to the city council. Eric Adams was the mayor, and I came in with Michael Bloomberg when he was mayor. So I had an opportunity to see how things work in the belly of the beast and seeing how contracts are meted out, how budgets are passed, and what, let me turn this off, and what people were doing without resources. So when you look at New York City and you look at all of the so-called black and brown neighborhoods, there's double-digit unemployment, there's usually high crime, and there's usually double-digit poverty, 20 to 40% poverty in our communities, in the richest city in the world, in the richest state in the world, in the city where the world meets, the United Nations, in the city where the citadel of capitalism is, Wall Street, and these exorbitant budgets. There's money all over the place. And that's why if you talk about taxing the rich, they're not leaving. Taxing corporations, they're not leaving New York City. They have a stock transfer tax that the city receives, the state receives $16 billion, and they rebate it all right back to Wall Street. So in that milieu, in that mix, you have the Democratic Party running candidates. You have the Working Families Party, which is really an extension of the Democratic Party, running candidates. And you have the Democratic Socialists of America, a white left organization that runs candidates in the Democratic primary. And they have their platform saying they're Democratic Socialist. However, no matter who gets elected, matter of fact, David Dinkins was a member of the Democratic Socialists of America.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, David Dinkins was DSA, but they're not going to bring socialism to the New York economy. That's not going to happen. So you got to listen carefully when people are talking during these campaigns. And most people don't even know what socialism is. Most people never read a book on socialism, have no idea what it is. Communism doesn't exist. It's a utopian society where there's classless, stateless, wageless society based upon give according to abilities and receive according to your needs. That is an ideal. And socialism is the pathway to that ideal. So, and most people don't even know what capitalism is. And even Hakeem Jeffries and all, I'm a capitalist. You don't even know what capitalism is. You're so far from being a capitalist. You don't want to be capitalist, but you don't own the means of production. You don't control nothing. You're just a lapdog for the capitalist. So all of these blacks that saying I'm pro-capitalist, you may be in your mind, but in reality, you're pro broke, poor compared to what capitalists have. Bezos is a capitalist. You know, Elon Musk, he's a capitalist. You know, those are people who really have something. So in New York City, even though we have the power to vote for persons that really support our real interest, we don't do that. We are led by those three organizations. We had the unique distinction to be able to beat the Democratic Party machine for 21 years without being dependent upon them for anything. We had a separate political organization called Operation Power, people organizing for empowerment, working for empowerment and respect. So you got to see, how did people win? Where did they get their money from? Barack Obama was a president for the white power structure. That's where he got his money from. And so he didn't do what he should have done. He should act like Trump and treat us special, and give us the kitchen sink. But he didn't. So in New York City, we have an election coming up. And first, Eric Adams. Eric Adams is one of the worst mayors we've ever had. Eric Adams is a conservative closet Republican. Eric Adams has no interest of any of us but Eric Adams. I've known Eric for 40 years. He was with us in the Black United Front, me and Reverend Daughtry. And Eric Adams, he brought back Giuliani's street crime unit, that racist street crime unit that was stopping and frisking everybody. They doing that again. He was against no cash bail for the laws that we passed for. Listen to this, no cash bail. This was a piece of legislation we all passed to say that if you are a pre-trial detainee on Rikers Island, pre-trial detainee, and you have been arrested for a minor non-violent offense, crime, you should be released in your own recognizance, not being treated like they treated, of Khalif Browder when they accused him of stealing a backpack, and then they put a $3,000 bail on him. He couldn't afford it. He wound up staying in jail, and what the prosecutor does to punish those they don't like, they keep saying, we're not ready. Well, if you don't have bail and they keep saying they're not ready, no speedy trials, there are no speedy trials. That's what we were fighting for in the state assembly, speedy trials. So they kept canceling it until he was spending 3 years in prison. And when he finally got out, he committed suicide for a backpack. Eric lies to the public by saying, Charles and them, they may want this no cash bail. And then listen to this carefully. He said that a person was let out with bail and committed a violent crime, shot somebody. Listen to the contradiction. Ours is no cash bail. So if a judge let a violent person out with bail, they ain't got nothing to do with our bill, because our bill is no cash bail for minor offenses. So we went through all of that. Now you have people running. First of all, Curtis Lee, which shouldn't even be an option or even talked about. He was a clown. Cuomo is corrupt, accused by 13, 14 women of sexual abuse. Cuomo has a budget that I fought against when he did not want to tax the rich. I interrupted him during his State of the State address because he refused to tax the rich. Cuomo cut the Advantage program, which was a rent subsidies program for the homeless. He is a corrupt horror show. Then you have Zoran Mamdani. Here's his contradictions. And originally, we were looking to try to maybe support him. We said, okay, he's claiming socialism and all of that. But man, he is moving so far to neoliberalism so quickly when he doesn't have to, because he looks like he's going to win. I mean, it's not a shoe-in. You don't ever relax on it. But what does he do? He meets with all the Jews and some Jewish group. He told some Jewish group, they say, that some Zionist group that say, hey, who knows? I might have a Zionist in my administration. He says, and he's a socialist, he says that Cuba and Venezuela are dictatorships. Those are two socialist countries. He refuses to support the retirees' health benefits. When Eric wanted to move them into Aetna and privatize it, I had a bill saying you can't do that. And Zoran is not supporting the retirees. He's supporting the city of Yes, which is a policy for the developers, Wall Street, real estate that Eric put out there. So this guy is swiftly moving, doesn't want to meet with us radicals, but he'll meet with everybody else, trying to get Hakeem Jeffries, who's a Zionist supporting capitalist, which his endorsement means absolutely nothing, because he's not going to tip the scales no kind of ways. And he probably finally got permission from AIPAC, the Jewish lobby, to go ahead and endorse. because you wait until the day before early voting. Your endorsement means zero. He's trying to meet with all the Democratic Party folk. So we're in trouble. But what we're doing, we organized a Black Solidarity Coalition. We have some groups like my Operation Power, the December 12th movement, UNIA, Marcus Garvey's group, the Nation of Islam, CMOTEP, with Dr. McIntosh. So we have a whole group of us are saying, we ain't voting for none of them. We're going to hold them accountable, whoever gets in, and we're going to run black radicals for city council seats. That's where the power is. The city council passes the budget, not the mayor. The city council passes laws, not the mayor. If the mayor wants a law passed, he has to get a council sponsor. And most importantly, the city council determines what's going to be built on city-owned land. They call it council deference. This is why my East New York is not gentrified. Harlem is. I is. Crown Heights is. All of those are gentrified because of the sellout, sycophant Negroes in the Democratic Party. It's just like what happened in Washington, D.C. It used to be called Chocolate City, 80% black. Now it's Marshmallow City. It's about, 46, 50% white or black, and the whites are moving in. Same thing in Atlanta. And who's doing this? Black politicians. And Hakeem Jeffries' district, the 57th Assembly District, when him, Letitia James, and Laurie Cumbo were in that district, it was 72% black. By the time they left, it is now 32% black and 38% white. And they're crying about the gentrifiers who beat Hakeem's guy